Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
Hey, rockers. Our guest today really needs no introduction. From Vanilla Fudge to Cactus to BBA, Rod Stewart, King Kobra, Blue Murder, just to name a few. This man has been part of some of the greatest rock and roll music ever recorded. Please welcome Carmine Appice. Or Appice.
That's it. No, it's Appice. My brother Vinny is Appice. When I was with Rod Stewart, he said, you got to get one way to say your name. You're like 5 different people. I said, okay. Yeah. So well, we went with Carmine Appice because everybody said that, and I went with it.
Yeah, well, that's how I always do you originally, too. And then when your brother came into my ears, I heard Appice, so I'm like, I'm just going to make it. I have a friend.
Well, if you listen to the Vanilla Fudge live album we did near the beginning, Timmy said, Carmine Appice on drums, or BBA, that live box set that just came out. Timmy said, Carmine Appice on drums, you know. So at that point I was, but man, everybody called me different. And Carmine Appice, Carmine Appice, then Carmine Appice, and Carmine Appice, and finally, Rod said, what do most people call you? I said, most people call me Carmine Appice. He goes, let's go with that. And then I have an ad on the wall with Ludwig did in every magazine. Ludwig's my drum company at the time. Everyone wants a piece of a piece. I mean, it made sense. It made sense. And, you know, that went in every major rock magazine around the world, you know.
Right. So, no, I love it. And you and your brother did a great album in 2017 called
we did. Sinister.
Yeah. And you guys make fun of that whole name thing too on record, which I thought was
pretty cool. And the album cover, we had the stitches going down the middle of our faces, my face and his face, and it almost looked like one face.
Yes, it did.
Except for the hair, you know.
Right.
If I shave my mustache off, I look like Vinny.
Yeah,
I did it once. I said, let me grow that back.
No, you guys definitely look very much alike and play pretty much alike too. He's learned a lot from you, I think.
Yeah, he has.
But the reason that we got together today primarily is because there's some new music on the horizon for you right there. June 7th, brand new record from Cactus. Now, my understanding is that, you know, you've had a reformed version of Cactus for a while, but on this new record, it's some of those players, but also a lot of guest artists. So tell us about the record, Temple of the Blues, Influences and Friends.
Well, it came out by the owner of the label, Brian Pereira, said to me, why don't we do a Cactus record where everybody was influenced by Cactus plays on it? I said, well, yeah, influencing is my friends, I can get on it too. You know, So he said, okay, great. So we had the concept, and then he gave me a budget, and I said, oh, let's start doing it. So I said, should we do the old songs? He goes, yeah, let's do all the old songs. So we did the old things. I started just in my studio here with just the drums. Very hard to start songs with just the drums. Eventually, I had a track, a click. I would end up singing songs like Evil. I go, Evil. Bam, bam, drum fill, down, 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 drum fill, down, 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 drum fill, down, 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 down. One Day from Home, vocal, solo, blah, blah, blah. I did the whole song like that. And then I had something to play to. Because the first 2 songs, Parchment Farm and One Way or Another, I was hearing it in my head and I just played. But it was hard, you know, because I didn't know, like on the screen on my recording unit, Cubase, I didn't know where it was.
Right.
What part of the song it was. So I said, I got to have something to play to so I know where I'm at and I know where I'm at recording wise. So I did the other 12 songs like that. I made a roadmap with my voice and a click. And then after I did that, I would give it to my singer, Jim Stapley. He put guitar, vocal, harmonica when needed. And then the bass player, James Caputo, would play it. Now I had a song. And then I would call people. Ted Nugent, you want to play on this? I told him, yeah, I'm in. Send it to him. Doug Pinnick, I'd love for you to sing and play bass on it. No, I'm in. Bam. I know Doug and Ted was more like a friend of Cactus. Doug was definitely influenced by Cactus.
Mhm.
And it went down the line. Dee Snider was doing Evil with his band years ago called Widowmaker. My friend Joe Franco was the drummer, who's also one of my students. And I was talking to him about that track. And I said, man, I heard that you're playing the drums wrong. You know, I said, but you know what? I want to know, you think Dee was like to sing on this? He said, oh man, call him. He loves Cactus. I called him with no hesitation. I mean, so then I called McCarty and I said, look, why don't you play Evil? And we'll get Doug Pinnick to play Evil as well. Got him, got Dee on it. And I told him about Dee. He said, oh man, that guy from Twisted Sister, forget it. He can't sing. I said, trust me, he will sing Evil great.
Oh, he did too.
Yeah, he did. And when I got it done, I sent it to him. He said, oh my God, he sounds like Rusty Day, our original singer. I said, yeah, he does. I told you. And then we did the video, and the video came out great. And from there it went on to doing everybody else. And Parchment Farm was the template for Hot for Teacher for Van Halen, and told to me by Alex and Eddie. And then Let Me Swim had an intro that we did on the original record, which they extended, and it became Eruption by Eddie. So I extended it more on this album, so you can see the comparison that I needed a great player. So I got Doug Aldrich to play that. And
Right.
I found out he was a fan of Cactus. I didn't know that. Steve Stevens was a fan. I knew Billy Sheehan was, because he loved Tim Bogart, loved Cactus, loved the Fudge. He said, anything you want to do, I'm there, because I want to pay tribute to Tim. So he played on Parchment Farm and Oleo, and Oleo had a Tim Bogart bass solo. So he did a Tim Bogart kind of bass solo. And then Steve Stevens played on that. I found out he's from Brooklyn. Even though we were friends, I didn't know he was from Brooklyn, and that he loved Cactus. So I'm finding out different people were into Cactus that were my friends.
Right.
So it's great. Warren Haynes played the blues, did a great job. He did the blues, singing it and playing it at the same time in the studio, while me and Jorgen Carlson, who played with Government Mule bass, we did the rhythm track, and he played to that, and fantastic. So it was an enlightening experience to do it all, and came out great. And I had my co-producer, my engineer, Pat Regan, mixed it, got a tremendous sound on it. Sounds phenomenal, I think. And
It does.
yeah, and then when I got it all done, I said, yeah, I need a female on this. So I think I placed a call to Lita and never heard back from her. I think she was on the road, she's not good with returning messages, but I love Lita like a sister, so we go back a long way. And I said, but I need somebody. Then I did a rock fantasy camp of March of last year, and I ran into Britt Lightning, who plays with Vixen, and she was like the tour manager of the rock fantasy camp. So I thought of her. I said, I heard her play. We had some jams. I called her. I said, look, I need a female on this. I'd love to have you play. She goes, oh my God, with all those famous guys, yeah. So she did it, Rock and Roll Children, the verses, and then Vernon Reid played the solos on that
Gotcha.
one. And then so I brought it all. I gave it to Brian, the owner. I said, that's what we should do. I said, I've been listening a lot to talking and seeing Foghat, #1 on the Billboard blues charts. Robin Trower, #1 on the blues charts. Why can't Cactus be #1 on the blues chart, especially with all these guests? So why don't we market it as a blues record? He said, that's a great idea. I said, because if we market it as a regular record, it's going to be like number 400,
Right.
Great idea. Let's call it Temple of Blues. I said, that's a great idea. So let's continue Temple of Blues, Influences and Friends. And then we can change the artwork to a temple and all that stuff. He said,
Right.
great. So when I did this album cover, I wanted it to be like Sgt. Pepper, except, everybody that played on the album is on the
when
cover.
I saw this, that's what I thought of was Sgt. Pepper's.
Exactly. And when the art guy did it, he originally had everybody in those Sgt. Pepper outfits. I said, no, man, I don't want to copy it exactly. I just want to have the idea of everyone that played on the record is one big bunch of guys on the album cover, kind of like Sgt. Pepper's. There was a lot of people on the cover. He says, "Oh, I get it." So he started doing this, and we said, "Now make it a temple." So he put the background, making like a temple. All the artwork inside the album cover is all temple, with a temple, and the back is with a temple, and it's killer. So I said, "Great." So sure enough, so we started marketing it with the evil single, the evil video, and last week, the week before last, it was number 17 on the Amazon Blues pre-order charts.
Nice.
Last week it was number 6. The one above us was Slash and his blues album. He was number 1. So we were only 5 away from Slash, who's a giant name now. But all the names on this record, Bonamassa and Nugent and everything, it's. So my label says, we're going to do great with this record, man. All the signs are there. Ted Nugent on his Spotify released it. He had thousands and thousands of downloads of it, So, Ted's a good old friend of mine. He's agreed to do some press for us too.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
awesome.
So.
Well, you played some shows with Ted.
I played with him. I played on his album Nugent. I played with him through the whole summer of '82.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know how many. We did 30, 40 gigs. I don't know how many we did. That was fun.
Yeah. Because because if I remember, I'm pretty sure did he do some dates on that in that year for that album? Was there something with Aerosmith that year? Can't remember. No, maybe that was later.
I think we might have done a couple with them, not a lot.
Yeah.
But Ted's always been an old friend since 1967. Vanilla Fudge and Amboy Dukes used to tour together, and he ended up being with my manager of the Fudge for a few years, so we became really close through that.
Sure.
And I played on his the Nugent album. I did some stuff and percussion on the next album. I jammed with him a bunch of times when he came into town. We've just been close friends.
Right. Well, that's great that he's helping with that. And I'm glad to hear that it's doing that well in the pre-orders. I think I probably added to that count last Saturday myself.
Oh, great. Well, thank you.
Because I want, even though I've got the digital files, I want the physical. So I'm looking forward to that.
You get the LP or the CD LP?
Vinyl.
Yeah, red vinyl.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. So let's see if we miss anybody. And you also have Randy Jackson from Zebras on the record as well.
Now he sings Brother Bill, and that just got on some blues station that's syndicated on like 85 stations or more. And they added Brother Bill onto that station on the blues station.
Awesome.
So that's great. So it's getting stuff that we normally wouldn't get if we just released it as a regular record,
Right. Well, and it's, it's rock and blues. So.
Yeah, it's always been rock and blues. And on that Brother Bill track is Bob Daisley, and my friend Randy Pratt plays the harmonica, and my singer Jim Stapley sang that.
Nice. And you guys are got some dates coming up too. To support this. And ironically, June 7th, the release day.
Yes.
You're playing with Bogart.
I know. And that's well, I know Roger for a long time and his wife, and so it was ironically, because I called her and I said, who is the PR people that are working your record? Because I want them.
Right.
So she told me, and we hired them for 2 months. So they got another month after the release, and if it does well, we'll go another 2 months.
Right. Yeah. Good. Yeah, so that's cool. So album release day, June 7th. Those of you in Florida, you'll be at Orlando Live. You can check
that's on the 9th. That's the 9th.
Oh, on the 9th? I've got it down here as the 7th. I've got the 9th in Clearwater.
That's the reverse.
Reversed?
Yeah.
I'm going to fix that in my notes. All right.
Where'd you get those from?
This was all part of the email I received about the.
Yeah, it's the wrong one. We start in Clearwater, we end in Orlando, and then in between we're doing Boca Raton with our own gig.
Yeah, and then what about for the Midwest folks? Because a lot of people that listen to the show are in the Midwest. I do show a date in Michigan. Is that?
No, that's moved to August.
That's moved. Okay.
That's moved to August 10th, I think.
Got it. All right. Well, eventually Token Lounge guys in Michigan.
Yeah. And I think Ted's going to come jam with us at that place. He said, anywhere I am within 100 miles, let me know and I'll come up and play. So that McCarty lives there too. So it might be McCarty and Ted with us. Yeah, not the whole show, but just to come up and jam a number or two.
Right, because McCarty doesn't really do the touring thing anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't tour no more. I had a whole new band, and the band kicks in. Look, any Cactus band that I put together is going to kick ass. It's going to kick ass with the Cactus. It's the vibe. It's the legendary Cactus songs and the vibe. Yeah, if you don't have that vibe, I'm not going to be there.
Right, that's right. And you can afford to be select because it's your music, man.
That's right. And I'm very proud of that music because I'm proud that, that people big listen to it now. People who are like AC/DC and Van Halen and King's X and Dee Snider and just so many Nugents, just so many big people that listen to Cactus. Even though we weren't a giant, they used to call us the American Led Zeppelin. Even though we never got huge, we did big enough to go to cities like Memphis to draw 5,000 people, in New York 2,000 or 3,000, upstate New York 2,000. On the West Coast, we played the Long Beach Arena, and we had 3,000 there. London 3,000. So we did draw thousands,
right?
But we were never 10, 12,000 seat venues.
Well, the Cactus story and all that just makes me think of there's certain musicians like, and you've played with him. I think he's on this as well. Pat Travers.
Yes.
Pat Travers has influenced so many guitar players.
Yes.
But your casual music listener, doesn't necessarily know who Pat Travers is. But if you're a musician,
they might know his song, "The Boom Boom Out Goes the Lights."
Exactly, but they won't know. It's not a household name, like maybe Taylor Swift or something, right?
Oh God.
But being influential, huge. Yeah. And so it's kind of the same.
Me and him did 2 albums together, and we did some touring together, and we did shows 2 years ago with Cactus and Pat. Mm-hmm. And there's one show with Pat on this thing with Foghat. I think it's the first one in Clearwater. And when Pat played, I would go up and play Boom Boom with them because we played. I played with him for quite a bit of time. And then when we do like our boogie, he come up and jam with us on the boogie. So that's why on this album he's playing the boogie, and he's like a brother. He's like him and Tony Franklin are like brothers, with me. And I called him. I said, "Yeah, I'd love you to do this." "Yeah, I'm in, no problem." I said, "I'd like you to play slide. It's an acoustic harmonica vocal part at the beginning. We do it differently than we do live." I said, "So I'd love you to play slide on that." And then when the band comes in, me and the bass player just smoke on the regular playing. He said, "Okay." And the slide playing, the sound of his slides just sounded great, which, like my engineer, Pat Regan, is my co-producer on this. What an engineer. I mean, he mixes, stuff is right in your face,
Mm-hmm.
Big fat sound, great fidelity, fat sound. So he's been doing all my projects for a long time.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm excited about this record, and I like that. It's kind of got your whole history too, because you've got Mark Stein from Vanilla Fudge on a track as well.
Yeah, I did.
So that kind of brings you full circle.
I thought it would be cool to have him. He's a great singer. I mean, he's 77 years old like me. My voice is a bit screwed up. You hear I sound like a mafia guy now,
Well, you're Italian. You're allowed. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm allowed. I look like a mafia guy too. So, but on the road, Mark's singing in the original key, singing his ass off, And I said, "Look, man, I need somebody to sing Long Tall Sally. I think you'll sing the hell out of it." I sent him the track. He said, "Okay." So he came down here to my studio. He lives about 45 minutes from me. He came down. We did it in my studio. And the guitar player on that is like my partner, Fernando, he's great, Fernando Perdomo is his full name. We had a project, we did 2 instrumental albums. It's called Appice Fernando project. You know?
Okay.
And was it, no, Fernando Appice, that's backwards. I don't know what it is. You know, the projects, project. So Appice Fernando. Appice Perdomo. There you go. And I played with so many bands, I can't even remember the names.
Yeah,
Appice Perdomo project. And it was a total instrumental project. And we did a video of one of the songs on the last album called Drum City. I don't know if you can see this, but I have, can you see this wall over here, right there?
The kind of blue color it looks like.
Yeah. That's the artwork that I did called Drum City. I paint everything. I draw everything that looks like drums, like the hi-hat's a bridge that goes, across a river. And then my painting partner is Ed Heck. He draws like children paintings. So he painted it with all the colors. And we have like a little car there, a couple of cars. So we did this video to Drum City, and that's called Drum City. Right, we called the track Drum City. And then my editor who edited it, he did an animation on it. So we're playing like Fernando's walking across the bridge. The cars are moving. The hi-hat is flying around looking like a flying saucer. Yeah, check it out on the app, on what do you call it, YouTube. It's called Drum City by Appice Perdomo.
I'm going to look for that for sure.
Yeah, look, it's a really cool track, and Pat Regan, my engineer, mixed it as well. But there's nothing like it, and it's really good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so anything I do, I like to make it really good. So anyway, Fernando played on Long Tall Salad, and I got Kenny Aronson to play on bass on that. And, Kenny played with a lot of people, including I was with him with Leslie West Band, before with Mick Jones, before Mick started Foreigner, and then Kenny also played with my brother and Danny Johnson and Rick Derringer.
Oh, wow.
A group called Derringer.
Okay.
So Kenny's a great player. He played with that HSAH with Sammy Hagar back in the 80s.
Right. That's where I know him from. I
played with Billy Idol, Joan Jett. I played with everybody. Bob Dylan even.
Gotcha. Who just had a birthday. So happy birthday, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's where I know him from, as the HSAS album.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I didn't know that even your brother, I didn't know, was in a Derringer, a Rick Derringer.
Yeah, that's when he got right out of high school. He was 17 years old, and we went on tour, funny enough, with Derringer opening up for Aerosmith at Stadium. So that's where he cut his teeth.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
But then he didn't get a lot of promotion. So he was Appice then. I was with the Rod Stewart band, and I was Appice, he was Appice. But he didn't get a lot of press about that. But when he joined Black Sabbath is when he got a lot of press, Vinny Appice. Then it was Carmine's brother, Vinny Appice. Right. Everybody's still confused now. 1980, from 1980, what is that? 45 years later, they're still confused.
Yep. Well, myself included, I always say that. Appice, is it Appice? I kind of like both pronunciations, but I'm also mostly Italian. I have a little bit of Danish in me too, but my grandma was from Italy, and I know she would pronounce your name Appice.
Appice.
Yeah, more like that. Exactly.
To be Carmine Appice. That's right. Carmenucci. Let's say too.
That's right.
But but no, I got a friend, a couple of Italian friends I got here. When I call them, I go, "Hey, Carmenucci,"
Right.
It's funny, but so that album that we did came out so much better than I thought it was going to come out. With so many better artists than I thought we were going to get. That knock on wood, I was blessed to get that thing done. I had a blessed career up till now. There's bands that opened up for us, like Zeppelin, a few other ones that got huge, but I was always at a level where I never really changed my lifestyle, I never was like on there, I'm out of money, I need money. I always had cool cars, always nice houses,
Right.
And You know, I always had a good lifestyle. You know, I don't have the lifestyle like Rod Stewart, flying around in my own planes, and I have a $50 million house in LA and another $50 million house. But you know, I have a beautiful lifestyle, man. I love it. You know, my wife has a place in New York. We got this place here. We got a place in St. Martin, and you know, I'm good.
Yeah,
you know?
that is good.
And I was glad to watch what I created by accident, heavy rock drumming, excel, you know, to what it is today with all these metal drummers, the heavy metal with the buzzsaw metal guys doing the double bass drums, you know.
Right.
I mean, we started that stuff.
You did.
Back in 1968. And then today I got an email from Louis Belson. He's the guy that's really started it. He's double bass drum in the 40s.
Right.
He was my idol for double bass drum. So it goes from him to me to the next generation to the next generation to the next. And now I was just telling that website, I said, it's amazing to see Louis started it, and you know, we picked up on it, and the next generation. I said, now those bass drums are so fast, they're like having another set of hands.
Right.
And what these kids do with it is pretty unbelievable, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, but I'm glad that I was, you know, involved in that. I didn't know anything I was creating. We had loud amps, and the drums were little, and you played light. I just played with more arms and wrists and power, and I created this power drum.
Well, didn't you use the opposite end of the sticks too early on?
I still do. Yep.
Yeah.
I do. And my sticks on here, my sticks, the tip is over here.
Right.
But on my sticks, the tip is over here.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I played like this.
One of the first guys, if not the first guy.
I was the first guy to play like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going through the books playing like this, both hands like that.
Gotcha.
Because I feel a little bit of arthritis coming on in the thumbs. And I don't want to get stuck. I can't play anymore because I have arthritis in the thumbs. So you don't need the thumb when you play like that.
Gotcha.
So,
you don't have any trouble controlling the stick though, keeping it
no, not really.
in place?
You know?
No.
I've been playing this way since 1968. And
wow.
I see guys like there's a guy on the internet now who's got millions and millions of views. If you ever saw him, he's an Italian, a guy from Spain. Guy's amazing. He's like the Buddy Rich of this new generation. And I saw him go and do a spin and hit the cymbal with holding a stick like that. I said, I had an influence on this guy. I had an influence on this guy.
Right.
You know, but
what? Yeah.
But you know, I'm just happy and proud that I was around at that point. You know,
as you should be, and I often have wondered. You know, John Bonham, of course, for many of us, is the greatest rock drummer ever you think of. But because Zeppelin was so early in their career, opening shows for your band, did you think John Bonham also picked up on tricks from you?
I know as a fact.
Yeah.
We were friends, and he told me that I was his idol. Yeah, nice. You got to understand this. Nobody could really get this now. When they came over, nobody knew them.
Right.
They opened up for Vanilla Fudge. They were the New Yardbirds, and then they changed the name to this Led Zeppelin. Keith Moon said, "Oh, you go down like a Led Zeppelin," which means down, you know.
Right.
And it's hard to believe now that nobody knew Robert Plant, nobody knew John Bonham. They were brand new kids, younger than us. And he told me he'd been listening to my records, and I told him, "I think you're doing Good Times, Bad Times. I love it. It's fantastic." He said he got it from me. I said, "I don't even do that. What do you mean?" He showed me one where it was on one of my songs somewhere in my catalog. I did it once, and he just did it and repeated it. And then, you know, I was blown away. And he loved my drum set. I got him the same set that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same set.
That was Ludwig's back then, right?
Ludwig. Oversized, big drum, blonde drums. I got a picture with me and him. Top part of the picture was me. The bottom part was him. Both playing double bass. He had the mustache, looked kind of like me a little bit,
right.
You know. But and we became friends. I used to do the spin like I do on the Ed Sullivan Show and grab the cymbal. So he used to go, hey, he'd be playing one time. He'd go, look, watch this. He'd do the spin and grab the cymbal. And then when they came big, he was doing that. So people grabbed that from him and then directly got it from me, like Tommy Lee. I saw him doing it when he opened up for Ozzy when I was with Ozzy. I said, where'd you get that? It was from John Bonham. I said, well, indirectly, you got it from me. He goes, no way, dude. I got it from John Bonham because, John Bonham was the guy,
Right.
Then I showed him some videos of the Ed Sullivan Show before Zeppelin came out as my proof, And he said, wow, dude, I can't believe it. I said, look, things have to start somewhere,
Right.
So
Absolutely.
But we were good friends, We were friends. We'd come to LA, I'd go hang with him and, go to the gigs, get backstage, hang out with the guys, Matter of fact, on the very first gig, the promoter didn't want him on there, $1,500 for Led Zeppelin. He didn't want him because it was sold out. We had 8,000 people or something like that. It was Vanilla Fudge and Spirit. The agent kept pursuing him. He said, all right, I tell you what, you pay $750 and Vanilla Fudge will pay $750. All right? They agreed. So Vanilla Fudge paid half of their fucking fee for the very first gig they played on. They never paid us back. It would have been a lot of money with interest today. They probably don't even know.
I think we need to get Jimmy Page on the phone. Jimmy, listen.
He probably don't know.
He probably.
I didn't know. I found out 5 years ago.
Right.
Something like that. Because in those days, it wasn't a business yet. The managers did all the business. We just went on the road and had a good time.
Right.
Jimmy Page would have his boots near the door. We shoot up a fire extinguisher under the door. He said, "Wow, you ruined some of my boots." Sorry, but not just me. Everybody. John Bonham, Richard Cole. It was, it was just a good time on the road. Nobody knew what the business was at that time.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. It had to be kind of like the Wild West in the late 60s.
It was.
70s.
It was. It wasn't a business yet, and so when I see John Bonham #1, and all the things, I feel good because he got a lot of his stuff from what I did, and
right.
like I saw a thing on the internet where a girl was saying the John Bonham triplets. I mean, look at it. I did it before John Bonham, but I got it from Max Roach, the jazz drummer.
Right.
So it's not John Bonham triplets. It ain't my triplets. It's just a triplet.
Well, I think most of the rock drumming that we all grew up with and grew to love had, you have to look back to, you mentioned Louis Bellson, but of course, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa.
Yeah.
You have
guys.
to back on guys like those. Because,
my 4 guys, you mentioned it. Buddy Rich, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, Max Strokes, and Joe Morello.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Morello was a jazz guy with that. He did the time signatures, take 5. He did a solo in 5/4, which was the first time ever.
I did not know.
Those are my guys. I ended up knowing 2 of them. I never met Gene. I never met Max, but I knew Buddy Rich pretty well at the end, and I knew Joe really well. He had the greatest name for me at the Ludwig Symposiums. Hey, Apache, where are you?
Apache. Yet another take on your name.
It was funny when he said that, Apache. He was a great drummer, great guy, But, he told me too. He said, look, nobody has it all. We all steal from each other. That's true. Right down the line, You start with Louis Bellson all the way down to the Buddy Rich to Louis Bellson to my generation. I mean, my generation was me, Mitch Mitchell, Ginger Baker, and Keith Moon. Those are the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I started at 3 English, and I was the only American. But there was Dino Dinelli from the Rascals. He was a killer drummer.
His name you don't hear come up as much.
No, because he played with the Rascals at the beginning. They were kick ass, and then they started getting singles oriented. They were in competition with the Beatles. Beatles single, Rascal single. We had so many hits, and then Dino never really did solos, and he would do a great twirl a stick. Gene Krupa was his idol. I saw him open up for Gene Krupa before he was in the Rascals. So I knew him a long time. But really, he was like one of my mentors. So I have to say, him in that combination, those four. But if you look at those four drummers, including me, with that's five drummers, we influenced all the rock
Right.
those days. Not just Speed, but everybody. Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell, Keith Moon, influenced all the rock that was going on because there was nothing else drumming wise going on.
Right. Right. No, definitely. Definitely. And another thing that's unique.
Unless you have somebody that I'm missing, I don't know. I often wonder, am I missing somebody? But
I don't think so. Not that's popping into my head right away anyway.
Because I consider that the first generation of the new wave of rock drummers, new wave of that kind of rock, the album-oriented rock. And then the next generation was John Bonham, Ian Pace,
Roger Taylor, maybe.
But he was, let me see, what years was that? And Roger was a little later,
a little bit later.
70s, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Ainsley Dunbar, with the Jeff Beck group,
Cozy Powell, can't forget.
Cozy Powell, yeah. Well, Cozy was later. That's even a later one.
Yeah.
But you can put Cozy in. But Cozy used to live with John Bonham. If you read the book, The Thunderer Drums, when Bonham came back from the first tour with us, he went back and told Cozy, said, "What was it like working with me?"
Right.
And they were all like little kids, goo. And you read in the book, but there was a point in time when I would talk about this stuff, and they'd say, Carmine's just an egomaniac, saying he taught John Bonham. I never said I taught John Bonham,
Right.
And when that book came out, it put everything in place. Then it would be headlines: the man who influenced John Bonham, Carmine Appice, or a modern drummer said, the man who influenced or started heavy metal before Ian Pace, before John Bonham, before anyone. That kind of headlines were directed to me. I didn't have to say it anymore.
Right.
Only if I was asked.
Right.
But before, if I was asked, I'd say it, and people, he's an egomaniac. He didn't teach John Bonham, like that kind of attitude. But nobody knew.
Sure. And we didn't have all this.
That book came out, and it straightened everything out for me.
Good.
Thank God.
Well, another thing that I always thought is kind of unique about you, Carmine, is in the music world, especially our rock and roll generation, there's not too many drummers that also are songwriters. Most of the time they may contribute little pieces, but like a song, like you co-wrote, if I recall,
yeah.
Do You Think I'm Sexy with Rod Stewart, right?
Yeah,
So
I wrote songs.
More than just coming up.
But when you think about it, Neil Peart wrote all the lyrics to their songs.
Right.
And Don Henley wrote songs. There's a lot more than you think, but there's not many back in the day that sang. Like with BBA, I watched myself singing with BBA and playing what I was playing. I go, oh my God, I could not do that now. I was 24 years old and I was a bit of a monster.
Right.
Animal player and decent singer. Me and Tim used to sing great together, but over the years, like my voice now is a little rough, but I kind of like it. So I used to have my voice was a little too sweet. My drumming was like real aggressive, and the voice was sweet. It kind of didn't make. But now, if I get the right keys, my voice sounds a little rugged now. But I still enjoy singing and playing. I don't enjoy singing leads that much. I enjoy singing more background. I love background voice. I love harmonies.
Sure.
And like my wife would be driving in the car, she's singing whatever song, a Beatles song, and I'd always sing the harmony.
Right.
I used to sing doo-wop in Brooklyn when I was young, 13 years old. Everything was doo-wop singing in the subway, so it has the echo.
Right.
But it is a little strange for drummers to be writing and singing, but most of them, like all the bands I've been with, Cactus, Vanilla Fudge, when we wrote songs, we kind of split it. We split the publishing at least. Like the song on the Vanilla Fudge album, Faceless People. I wrote the full song and I arranged it and did all that. I sang it. And Where's Happiness, I think I wrote it with Mark Stein, But then like BBA, we wrote all those songs together.
Right.
One song called Oh to Love You, I wrote the whole song, but I split it with Tim and Jeff just to be try and keep the band more together, you know. But
Right.
I wrote the whole thing. You know, with me and Pat Travis, I wrote many songs on that record. He wrote songs. We tried to split it evenly, you know, he wrote Hicks, I wrote half, you know.
Right.
And you know, with Cactus, we always split it 4 ways. I mean, like Parchment Farm, I didn't even know that was a blues song. I thought that Rusty Day wrote it because every time we used to jam some, he just started singing lyrics, which became songs.
Right.
So I thought it was a Rusty Day song. And I found out Parchment Farm was a blues song. It could have been anything. What
Right.
sold that song was the tempo and the playing. It wasn't the fact that he sang those lyrics. People weren't going around sitting over here in the Parchment Farm. Yeah, you know, it could have been anything. And they would have loved the track is what sold that song, you know?
Sure.
But
Amazing. Yeah.
Anyway.
I have to ask because I feel like you know, as we mentioned before, going back to Vanilla Fudge, you've got like a 57-year career already, not to count time you would have been playing before the first Vanilla Fudge. But I get the feeling that all these years later, it makes me think. I have a feeling you're the same as I am. This still excites you, doesn't it? It's still,
of course,
it's exciting.
Sure, like that album. I was real excited doing that album. You know, it's a challenge. You know, it's a challenge. You know, and I love it. Like I got some other projects we're doing with Cleopatra. I can't really talk about it yet, but it's very different than anything I did before. You know,
awesome.
And it involves technology and stuff. You know, so. But I do it in my studio. I couldn't have done any of this stuff if I didn't have my studio.
Right.
Cactus Records, Vanilla Fudge, Stop in the Name of Love, the 2 instrumental albums, some things for Cleopatra, some of the tribute albums. You know, I couldn't have done any of that stuff without the studio.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. No, that's one of the good things today. You know that you can make music like this. And then,
you know, when the internet came out, who would ever dream about that you record music and send it through the internet to somebody?
Exactly.
I have a thing in my drawer that in the 1993 or 4, I used to go to Japan a lot. And in order to email somebody, I had this little Sharp was the company. And you flip it up, it had an itty bitty screen and a little keyboard. And you type what you want. It was like a fax machine. Then you put it over the phone and have the headpiece and the talk piece, earpiece and talk. You flip it on there and you dial the number and you flip it on there. And it would sound like a fax machine, but that email would go through the wires and come out to somebody. So it's a way of communicating with somebody when I was in Japan.
Right.
At the time, my ex-wife, we had 2 young kids. So I would communicate with them like that.
That's amazing.
So, you know, I still got it.
You should save that. That's a great museum piece.
Yeah. And then I got my first computer, had 75 gigs, you know, had an HP computer. And then my brother Vinny started getting into building computers. He loved it. He built a computer. He built my whole system I have here. He's got the same system in his house, so we can exchange. If I have a problem, he can call me and help me with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he built it for me, and if he didn't build that for me, I don't know nothing about it.
Right.
Luckily, I had the GarageBand on my iPad. He said it's the same kind of vibe as GarageBand. So it was. So
that's great. Well,
good.
And speaking of your brother, that's one more thing to add to your plate. We need a follow-up album to Sinister because that album was.
Well, yeah, we could do that.
It's overdue.
And now that I have my own studio, it would be easier to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So add that to your list of music to make, would you?
Good idea. That's a good idea. I got to talk to him about
it. There you go. All right. Well, I won't keep you any longer, but Carmine, it's been great talking to you again, everybody. The new Cactus record, June 7th. You still got your beautiful copy of this in front of you, Carmine?
I do.
So hold that up, guys. Get that, pre-order it. starts out with the first track has Joe Bonamassa and Billy Sheehan on it. So, I mean, how can you start a record better than that?
And Jim McCarty.
And there you go.
Yeah.
So, again, new Cactus record, Temple of Blues, Influences and Friends. Buy it, pre-order it now. If you're in Florida, go see these guys, and hopefully maybe some more live dates will build as the next few months.
Yeah, we're gonna go to New York area at the end of June. There's a couple of days. Instead of Michigan, we're doing upstate New York and the Iridium in New York City.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
And there's more in August, and maybe we're gonna keep them coming, you know.
And will you have these dates updated on your website?
I will. Yep.
Okay, so
I
Carmine.
just did a new website, and we're gonna have a new Cactus website next week.
Oh, fantastic.
Cactusrocks.net.
Cactusrocks.net.
Yes.
Anyway, we didn't even touch on so much of this man's career, but just amazing. It's really an honor to talk with you, Carmine.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Listening to your playing for a long time. So,
thank you, bro.
And then one last thing, just to wrap this up, I always like to add a song from the new record at the end of these interviews, or these chats, as I call them. What would you pick from the upcoming record?
You pick it.
I'll pick.
For me, I'm too close to it.
So I think I saw. I mean, there's just so much good stuff on here. But you know what? We talked a lot about, or a little bit anyway, about Pat Travers. So I think we'll do that track.
Okay, cool.
But we're going to add that one. So everybody, again, Carmine Appice, thank you for coming to Radio Bypass. And now stick around to hear another track from this upcoming album. We're kind of getting a sneak preview here because the record doesn't come out till June 7th.
Yeah, that's good.
So we're going to be playing Big Mama Boogie, features Pat Travers and James Caputo. Let's rock. Thank you, Carmine.
Bye-bye.
Feeling good, I shake my thing. When I get to feeling good, forget about everything. But I just get a boogie deep down my soul. Not afraid to react, not afraid to let go. The boogie was born, and I've been boogieing since I'm 51. Taught to me by a fella named Joe on a quarter of brush of 51. Said boogie baby, don't be afraid. You can get a little closer if you know what I mean. She has my child. Yeah, I'll give a girl because she has my child. Some of the the things she does, she makes my mind go wild. When I tell her back off, sometimes she don't hear. Well, I tell her back off, but sometimes she don't hear. Then I get a little push and makes the position clear. Comes into my life. I'm like an airplane pilot when it comes into my life. I'll kick you off my flight if you keep on giving me jive. Boogie, baby.